Good morning, everybody. This is Suraj Singh speaking from Bharat, India, in connection with current talk of profession, and it's my privilege to have again and again conduct conduct talk with you people regarding engineering and regarding non-engineering in life. It's of course very important that we have to understand this very important part of life. These talks may be meaningful or may be partly meaningful or may not be meaningful at all, which depends upon person who views and deals with this talk. If you are interested, it's fine. There may be few people interested only, I understand. But whatever it is, I am doing service for humanity, for improvement of quality of life, which is otherwise completely neglected in few parts of words, for this world, our world. And therefore, I would like to say that I understand, I have a faith, a trust that quality must be improved, and everybody has to think on that issue, has to really think on that issue. It's very important part of life, and if you don't, well, there can be nothing else but you can say, if you ignore quality, you ignore a lot, because ignorance of quality means your personal quality is also ignored. You may not think to how to name yourself a quality person if it happens. I'm not here to define something for you. I'm defining something for everybody, because quality cannot be condemned at all, and if it is condemned means we condemn ourselves. That is really important part of life. Quality in fact cannot be you can say isolated from your life, even if you wish, because you cannot tolerate bad quality all time. Until you do not respect it, it's different. And if you do not know anything about it, about quality, that's another point of view. But to a person who has sound mind, quality is a part of life. We all say quality, 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 but we never make sure that we get quality or we do not get quality. People sell goods, they claim it's quality good, but to what extent that good has quality, that nobody measures, because people are very busy. They think, okay, next time I will not buy. That happens, but whatever you have bought, it's enough for that manufacturer. They got money. So if there is complaint of 5 to 10% people, consumers, that manufacturer doesn't bother. That's the reason that quality is not improved. Of course, quality talks have been improved. Speeches, writings have improved. Systems have been claimed. Everything has been done and is being done from commercial viewpoint, from showcase viewpoint. But if you see products, if you survey products and try to know what actually are we getting real quality, that's the point where I confine myself. Why we are not getting it. And reason is that nothing but ignorance, carelessness, and that point is very much, you may say, that point is very much valid. And quality means an inclusion in quantity itself, which I always claim that we are saying I have quality, this means you must have quantity. And if you say I have quantity, it must be with quality. Quantity cannot be isolated of quality, and quality cannot be isolated of quantity. Both should be complementary to each other, and if they are not, it means there is some bungling in that material. That point we have to understand. It's very much true. I always write few words based on my only improvising. Okay, this is that is this, this is that is this. We can say, all right, I understand this. I don't understand this, but that's different. Now, see, I say quality, then I say design, like that. I say quality, then I say design, then I say construction, then I say method statements, then I say time, then I say cost, risk, reliability, analysis, synthesis, thinking, contemplation, application, and there can be whatever else can be added to it depending on your own thinking. You can say whatever is their cost, I say cost, or their profit also. I can say profit I did not write here because profit is something else which has nothing to do with product. Of course, everybody earns money, everybody makes money out of whatever, and that's called profit, you can say. But here I'm saying cost. Cost includes profits, that's true. Time includes marginal tolerance, and risk includes everything. So reliability is most important point here. Then everything says processing, you say analysis and thesis thing, and contemplation and the application is a part of process. You say application comes from where? It comes from thinking and contemplation. And contemplation comes from where? Contemplation is not one word, it's a group of words, a chain of words. There are so many templates put together, all done templates, all acceptable templates for that quality assurance, and that's called contemplation. You have to think analytically of the article meaning, and synthesis is a combination of all solutions based on analysis. And analysis is a process where you have to see problem, you have to understand problem, you realize, identify problem, and try to identify all problems. Whatever, every process, every work, every process, many problems, and those problems are all based on analysis. We have to take. Then we have to say, okay, we say time, we consider, and cost, we consider the risk factors, we consider all other factors, we consider, and future, we consider everything, we consider durability also, we consider, reliability contains everything, means it contains particular, we can say, it contains safety, it contains serviceability, it contains durability, it contains risk, it contains time, it contains cost, it can contain everything. Because if time is accessibly given and you don't have that much time, so time is a factor there. It's a risk itself. If the cost is too high, you can't afford it, you can't get that quality because this cost is too high, you can't afford this, it's beyond my reach or beyond my level. I can't buy this material, it's too expensive. So you have to bring down expense, you have to bring down time, you have to bring down all risks, and that you can say kind of reliability definition. It varies from product to product, it can vary from use to use, and it can vary, it depends on. That's why I say nothing is independent. It means it has to depend on some other factor, and that factor will be time, that factor will be cost, that factor will be risk, and that factor could be, you can say, durability, that factor will be safety, that factor could be, you can say, service, that factor could be, future, that you can say, oh, do I really need it? Means can I find some alternative? So that goes to alternative reliability, but reliability still remains there. And you say what technically, if you see quality, design, construction, method statements, these are very different. Means you have to achieve quality, and this means material should be quality based, be acceptable to you or to whoever uses that, and then it should be based on certain designs within that acceptability limits. I'm not saying that quality is unlimited and design is unlimited. Design is also based on certain criteria, certain assumptions and presumptions, and definitions, and based on which construction or manufacturing also, you can say, it's not simply construction plus, when I say it includes manufacturing as well, it includes processing as well, it includes everything. Construction means combination of all processes, you may say, combination of all methods, you can say, combination of methods, material, resources, and you can say safety, quality, every sum, you can say, form equation of this, that this is design plus in construction, you can say this is planning, safety, quality, material, resources, human resources, and equipment, and technologies, and you can say whatever you want to add, all structures from all these sub-elementary or elementary or method or sub-disciplines and disciplines are joined together, combined together. And you may say that is construction. It doesn't mean construction on site as we understand. Construction, even if you draw a sketch on some piece of paper, it's called construction isometric from these views, or this is an isometric, just produce plan elevation and section or side elevation, like that we say used to learn that in our secondary education in engineering drawing. So that was also construct a triangle, construct a square. So construction is very wide word, very useful, but you cannot just confine it to construction of, you can say, activities that are measurable, that are payable. That is site construction. But so that site construction or construction done everywhere, and all that means it's dependent on something. And that statement we decide, we devise for such one. It's called method statement. So quality relates to design, and design relates to construction, and construction relates to methods, and methods to time, cost, risk, because in that method you have to consider time also. You have to consider cost as well as risk also, safety risk, other risk, failure risk, sale risk, and all that. Reliability then means the sum of everything, and there you can say you analyze every problem and add up after solutions are achieved, and all is based on think again, or you think on that sequence of thinking, continuous and contemplation we call it. And then applications ultimately, this is engineering application, this is non-engineering application, this is application in life. This is application is very important term. When you go to some office, say I have to apply for this to get something done, and that's why the application is in engineering is everywhere in life. You have to apply something. So these are only few factors. I can take many more factors in that. That doesn't mean anything. If you think without thinking, and then you say, okay, fine, this is a project, whatever project it is, then we have to think on that construction project. So you may call it construction project, you may call it somewhere else design projects, you may call it somewhere else manufacturing process, somewhere you call it sale project, you may call somewhere else that we have to scheme something to promote someone. So that's promotion project. So like this we say management. I say, though I don't like word management, but it's written everywhere. People use this as an organization actually. Management means organization. Organization means whatever organs do you have for that work, you all should work together. Organ means there may be 50 organs in one work, you may say 25 organs, all those must work together. They have their independence as well as interconnections, as well as combinations, as well as summation, and it is all we call the sum of projects and project, whatever you can say, construction projects management overview. And that's only a note for I thought of this in 11 or 10 years back. Just put in writing based on my experience. It might have changed now, but what I think still it works, and we have to understand this working. It's very important point that it works together. It still works, and that's where, see, this is my old photo. You can see this one. At that time, well, the purpose is not to show my photo. I just refer to that one. Just something you should do something special sometime. So I did that. No problem. Now I will discuss with this also. In meanwhile, I'm just trying to show you what actually this contains. This contains hyperlinks for use are given below. So, well, hyperlinks are there, but I think project requirement. One is project requirement, reason, a brief talk, and project management concept and its necessity. Project management, a brief analysis to understand how to integrate project plan with required knowledge areas, structural sequences of projects, management knowledge areas requirements, and you can say risk response plan, risk management plan. So I'll just blown it up and say on the project requirement, project management brief analysis, understand a structural sequence of project management knowledge area requirements, risk response plan, risk management plan, or risk organization plan, risk containment plan, you can also say, communication, then initiation, project initial charter and constituents, planning, development of project plan, major project constituents, and within planning knowledge area integration with development plan, client on a meeting, the lines to release with documents of execution, implementation, process, and communication channels. So process involve all relevant parties, monitoring and update continuous process during project life cycle, lessons learned from mistakes and incorrect decisions, and you can say completion of project, completion of closing or administrative. These are all titles which I try to add, with for this purpose only, means This is not for education purpose in academics, but this is for purpose of practical education tutorials, you can say, because this in books you may not find like this. You will find standard procedures, but I am not giving a standard procedure. I am giving something based on my experience, means how you can still classify them more and more, means it's not necessary just keep them as I said or as I listed one. It's just based on experience, depending on project, depending on your circle, depending on discipline what you do. It can differ from point to point. I have taken only from requirements reason, the project requirements reasons up to completion. Now I can say there's a forward here, I'd say. Then when project requirement reasons, a brief talk it is given here, of course. Then there's so many other issues in this involved, which will take one by one. I took it last time long back, maybe more than 1.5 years, but that time we did not share documents, share screen, just talked of by reading them. Now I'm giving you this document online. Therefore, project management concept chapter is a part 2 of this one, and we can say then it moves on like this. It's not very long document. Ultimately, I can just browse and show you. Browse and the project management part 3. This is what do I understand by project. Do I understand by professional project management discipline, and that I can say it's little detailed one because a brief analysis on how to integrate project plan with the required knowledge areas. That's another way, and I can say that we are involved in civil engineering industries and how it works. That's also another point. What type of projects are manageable? Then we can also say feeders, such as all content in that will take up that type. Then this part 4 is project stages, and structure requires a structural sequence of project management knowledge area requirements, and there's various classifications of whatever parts of that will take care of that. And also these are based on experience, not based on any book study or something, PMP, etc. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in real life of engineers, civil engineer particularly, how they deal, how civil engineer deals in life. That's more or less, much more, not given in books. And human resources, all they are there, and what we do, what we don't do, that we understand. Then means all these stages you can see a procurement sector are coming every year. You'll find sequence what we do on projects, how we deal with that, and communication, transmission, all these points are there. Eight point of communication, very important part. Nothing is possible. Don't communicate with anything. Communication is that much important part of project that without which you can't move. Communication, coordination, the part 5 is project stages. What stages project has, then we have to give one by one point. Each point is given plus and plus and plus. All sequences are there other than writing a pass. Then project stage, project includes, and client run or meeting, all this again, what they have to do, what client has to do, what contract has to do, what engineer has to do, what everybody has to do. That's what the project stage, the process of execution, implementation plan. We have given that. When it's like that, one by one point to other point, you have to study. You must have experience on that. What you did based on your experience, you can write all this. Otherwise, you can't write. It's not from books that you have written. It's from your actual experience. I'm sharing experience that I felt actually. I don't say I did experience in every field of construction or consultancy or design, but stages we understand when we deal something. We interact with others. We know what is there. Stages are important. Like sequence are important. Names are important. And that if you combine together, it becomes a long super string which gives you everything, which you can understand whole process. And the whole process is also it should be with given the enrichment of quality, all this, and that enrichment is actually called quality system, quality organization that we are talking of. It's a very important point that we understand. If you can have a picture of that one rather than going through books and understanding organizational management from those contents which are written by those people who are now in the field, that doesn't solve your problem. Problem you have to solve means you have the concept in mind. The concept can be created only when you have your own experience, and that's why I say here it is. So this is, I think, end of this page. 31 is coming. Preamble, guidance to contractors, and like what area of knowledge have been really refreshed. That's why this is project requirements, project initiations, project charter, planning for all stages during life cycle, execution, monitoring, controls, performance measurements, project closing out, and lessons learned. And that's what actually lessons learned control are. These are 5 points. I think the requirements, the initiation, the planning, execution, the monitoring, project. That's why I think I did in that. That's, I think, enough here. Let me now go to other file which is here, the building plans, and says what actually this means. This we started last time also, but I cannot complete it due to some reasons. I'm doing it again. I'll propose, though I added some points here. This is regarding construction method statement. This title is buildings plants, and building plants means of course plant doesn't means plants means major plants. I'm not talking one plant or two plant. I'm not talking a machine which is also called a plant. A major, for example, generator is a plant, for example. You can say which does something, which does some production. That's a plant, you may say, whatever electrical plant, mechanical plant, but here I'm talking of some process plant. Plant means facility. For example, facility means a refinery which receives crude oil and after processing delivers refined oil, petroleum, gasoline or diesel, or you can say byproducts as well as in addition to gas, and that byproduct could be ethylene, or you can say could be propane gas, or or something else like alkali. So like that means plants, what sort of plants? For example, I worked on a plant with 600 kD ethylene. I mean, name of plant was this 600,000 tons annum. Capacity of that was located in UAE, Abu Dhabi, and I learned by my practical experience. I was not very high profile there, but even then I used to coordinate there. I used to handle office engineering, and by virtue of that experience, I have assembled, I have gathered in myself a lot technical knowledge and coordination knowledge as well as communication knowledge, and based on which I am just trying to share with you how this knowledge can be used in future. I am not going to use that because of my you can say age, but even sharing with you is much more than enough, because it at least gives, I try to compile all that to my possible extent into writings, so that somebody has chance to go through that rather than learning first and doing, but something is available in form of text or literature that can be well used in field. So in that case it is, for example, safety journal I'm writing, I wrote something, then I say in this case concreting to RCC wall of some building, like it is, then also we can say certain designations are they will talk of what to talk of means what kind of designations are possible on construction sites. For example, there could be site leader, which is we call project site manager or project site leader or project site whatever, and then after that can be construction manager, then can be superintendent, and you can say site engineers, various types, and geotechnical engineers on such major projects are also installed and used, and those are employed, and then safety organization, and then supervising like general foreman, quality issues, quality the leaders and surveyors, personal protective equipment, etc. These all come from various kind of course, planning guys should be added here also, and you can say sometimes it is added, sometimes they control from control. It means it depends on quality, contract, planning, safety, all should be there, and then you can say responsibilities are defined in each statement. I will not share in every statement just for reference, but when you write statement, you have to include each and every point, because these responsibilities of titles and responsibilities of safety, responsibilities may differ, it may vary, and that's only a reason of background which I can say I try to share with you. And then forward system, there are so many methods, sketches are available which we will try to share as much as possible, because everything can't be shared. When there are various buildings are there, when I'm saying in this title is building plant, this means usually these buildings are used, or you can say included on those plants in two ways: process building or non-process building. And process building are those which are in dangerous area, dangerous zone, while non-process buildings are located outside of that zone. So it is means plant building, non-plant buildings have already shared with you, which are means better or easy in risk content, but this in plant, which we call building plant or process area, these are of course subject every time to adverse consequences of safety, and we have to take that point into consideration. Means some of them are blast resistant building, some of them are blast resilient building, some are non-blast building, and non-blast building is generally considered non-plant building as well. But here we are saying plant, even then some impact could be there, but we include all them in plant. Plant means facilities, whatever, could be power station, could be you can say some other station where processing is done, and where directly material is used, natural material. It's not case. Processing is involved, and processing is very important part. All activities as were in plant building are also contained in this plant building, which are contained non-plant building. But there are some different kind of, these are not high rise. In fact, if you take non-plant building, there is a high rise, there is a flyover, There are so many other infrastructures, you can say underground works and substations, and you may say metro, or whatever you can call, which is used for, which facilities are used only for where there is no processing. But here I'm talking of processing, which means there is no high rise, there is no meaning of high rise, there is no involvement of high rise towers or multi-story building in such plants, because these have got nothing. These are generally 2 stories or maximum 3 stories building used, but a blast level, blast resistant level like that are used in such areas. And that's very important point when I saying, for example, the administration building, it's non-blast building. Similarly, you may say also, as it has gone before, the electric substation or seawater basin, for example, this is facility building and located in process area. So this is, you can say, blast building. Of course, it must be strongly designed. Same way as I said before, electrical station also of 2 types. One is in the process area, one is located in another area, and this administration building, I can say this is non-blast building. Similarly, electrical substation is both process area is located, is called plant of blast area, blast building, and other one which is beyond process area and within range of non-blast, and that's called blast resilient, while other one is non-blast, and that's called non-blast building. There are certain classifications virtually based on experience and understanding, because up to 600 meters from process area, these classifications apply. Means up to 200 meters from process area, you can say it's within range of blast building, and up to 200 to 600 meters is it's a blast resilient building, and then non-blast building. Then buildings roofing system, we call it roofing system, very important. It depends on what type of building is. You have to protect impact of water, impact sun. There is thermal impact, and there is water impact, rain impact, moisture impact of building, which you take care in roofing system. This is a system, actually it's not simply roofing. We have to take into our consideration, there's a difference of understanding. So this is a roofing system, which comes a system, not just waterproofing itself. It has to take care of thermal energy is not transmitted to building. At only least thermal energy to transfer, temperature effects are reduced from roof through, and then of course impact of water leakage is to be avoided. And that's the whole purpose of that. We consider that this building's roofing system is there, and then there's system. We have to take a structural viewpoint also in also buildings. Structural view, not only framing, but also you can say walls and shear walls and all those which can be impacted upon, the finishing heights also considered accordingly. Means there are so many method statements in this. Just pages 35, 118 is long way. No problem, we just start trying. I'm just start trying to convince with you, to share with what we are going to talk in external concrete protection building. So concrete protection is also very item, which is of course structural protection. You may say it's not simply concrete protection, means it impacts waterproofing, it impacts on effect of soil on this RCC element, and there are subs. There's foundation and superstructure foundation and real item. Exposure to sun, exposure to foundation is just below ground, and you can say above it's now all non-foundation area, or which you may say exposure to atmosphere or superstructure. People generally call it superstructure. Doesn't matter if it becomes superstructure as well. There's no harm in that, but let's say that what happens, painting and all that, we can say administration building, and of course there are repetition of these buildings in this page only because of items, and then also you can say what I say, various sequences also shown, and we will look into that about painting, etc. And it's in detail, means we can't run away just assuming everything what says done. It's completely based on what done. Of course, it's old one, not new one. There may be changes now. I'm not aware of that, but question is not change or no change. Technicalities, technologies keep on changing. What I'm trying to say is, I'm not talking of change. I'm talking of process. I'm talking of method. I'm talking of sequences. Formation of sequences is important. Where there's an addition can be done, you can edit and change that. You may change material. You may change, trademark, you may change something else, but process cannot be changed, sequence cannot be changed, or chain work cannot be changed. I'm using chain work because this is not single line work. Even if there's a process, there's a combination of chain of processes, and there are so many coatings, etc. are shown here. That's what I can say. I have to take into our consideration this one. We'll take these two files one by one, Sometimes this one, sometimes that one, means the two files, the project organization file. Some talk from that, and then the technical file. This is that is also technical file, but there's a technological description and sequence of how we can earn, how we can run project. And here it is technicalities are involved. These methods. It's very important. Is technologies or is the process, combination of process. See what is the business sector. It's all are repeating. You can see them. It's repeating because I'm just trying to use this as sample. This whatever did there. I try to do this for practical purposes. So this is all, you can say, kind of reference. You can say it's not simply imagination, or it's not something. It's something which has done, and what is required, reflection or projection, or you can say reference to you guys. Something has been done is more important rather than theory, or rather than, you can say, imagination, because it is work which was done by someone, and you are lucky that you are sharing that work. That's more important than imagination. I just try to move it fast because same items are coming again and again, so I don't want to waste time. Then say, for example, rubber flooring is there, and you may say also there are so many other items. For example, you may say repair of concrete floor streets, like that we did before. Also in other plant building, non-plant building, we use that here also, you can say. So means life is that way. It is of course very boring talk, very boring video for those have who do not have link to construction. But for those who have link to construction, who are very few, they may like to spend time on this to really understand what is here. And that's very important point, that I can't say what should be done, what should not be done. Just few more pages are left browsing, and then we'll talk. I'm just trying to show what we are going to talk. These two files are for me very important, for you should be important, because management or organization of project you have to do, and also you have to do with professional technology, processing, method, procedures, and all you have to deal with that. If you deal successfully, then it's fine, and if you don't deal successfully, then you can't pick up, you can't move yourself, you can't promote yourself, you can't move project, you can't move yourself as well. And that's where it lies in. So various small or big or activities that are important, that's major activities, the prime activities, and those are smaller activities, smaller time activities, or less important activities. But for me, everything is important because it's a top quality. If you take care of quality, you have to keep everything very important. Design is important, construction equipment, sequences are important, methods are important. Every small work is important when you take care of quality. And if you don't take care of quality, then quantity minus quality means a scrap. It is nothing. There's no value of that. And that's only purpose. I want to keep in your mind, I want to inculcate in mind of everybody that quality should not be forgotten. Unfortunately, it has been forgotten. It has been ignored. People just want to rush, just want to push progress without quality, which is not. They assume quality is done automatically. People think it is done automatically, and that's the problem, important problem we have to think of. There's few more pages. I think I should run fast rather than wasting time here, because it's now, I think, retrofitting or something. Repair to cladding, okay, it's another point. And you may say, I think it's now fixing sheet panel, and also you may say few more, probably 2 or 3, not more than that, I think. Then let's move a little faster. Why do waste time then? Let us say here again it comes. You may say administration building substructure, like that. So it's now few pages, 3 or 4 pages more, and let's then come back to our talk in specifically, rather than superficially. I'm going to be showing you all this. So I think when I talk to you, you don't take it lightly. Even if you take it lightly, I can't help it. It's your interest, everybody's interest. I want to see that you work with quality. You don't work without quality, because I experience people condemn quality. Condemn means they don't care for that. I don't say they condemn officially. They say no, we have a qualitatively, but they, unfortunately, this doesn't happen, and that's where we say. So this is what I say. I go back now and say, okay, we have to do this one. So now I come back to, first of all, again, file of management, which is again to be referred to. This file, well, let's say again, first of all, why I am stressing on quality. This is only reason. I though I'm not in active field very much now. I'm 66 for your information, or 67 running. So my time is not very much increasing. Any time, whatever time, life can stop, which is also good quality if you stop. If you are allowed to stop your life in good age, means no need stay 100 years or 150 years. There is no need. Quality living is also important. It's not only quality work. Quality applies everywhere, and quality living is also very important. If I say quality, means it should be everywhere. It should be in mind. Mean you think qualitatively. If you can't think qualitatively, your thinking is defective, I can say. And in particular for those people who are educated technically or otherwise, who have some power, who have some strength of mind, though everybody has a strength of mind, but those who are educated, they are more capable to use that strength rather than those who think they are very intelligent and to use it, but in fact they have some limited, just like we say limit. In integral calculus, we say limit this to limit that. Sign of integration, then we calculate. So we take this limit minus that limit. So same thing applies to human body. If we integrate ourselves, this is lower limit, this is upper limit, and we apply those limits. Person who is educated has more higher upper limit, so that person can find higher difference between upper limit and lower limit. So that person can use that potential for better implementation, better inclusion, rather than this very person who doesn't understand limit, and so I know everything. And when usually say those people, I have seen that, particularly those all over the world, and they don't want to listen to someone, they don't want somebody to teach them. People are of that class in mind, rather than to use every opportunity from where you can learn. You can have a chance to learn something. That opportunity is always welcome, even though it comes from whosoever. But as far as it's useful, it doesn't matter whether I am senior or I am junior or my subordinate. Maybe I get something from watchman, watch guard, you can say. I get some knowledge from a helper who stands in a trench and works there. Means that person knows how best one can work, because those people work, they know how best energy can be used. So use of energy is also very important. Means sometimes I do very small work, but I spend a lot of energy, and sometimes I do very big work and spend least energy. So I have to come out to a point where I can say, no, I have to use this energy on optimum level, and that optimum level is required. Means where you neither lose something nor gain something, but you do job, least energy. And I think it relates to subject of safety, health, safety, and environment, and particularly that is supported by science of ergonomics, you can say, engineering of ergonomics. Ergonomics means how to best use your energies, how to do work with minimum energy, and how best you should not be impacted on by your health. You should not get much pain in your body. Only that stress which is admissible. Means after working 6, 7, 8 hours, you should of course have some fatigue, and that fatigue should be within considerable limit. And so for that there is a science we call ergonomics. So ergonomics means physically it is, but when you talk of mental use, then ergonomics doesn't apply to that extent as it applies to physical being or physically working. But even then in mind, your mind should be stressed to some limits only. You cannot, otherwise you may not sleep. So quality applies there as well. How many hours you have to think, how much you can think, what level you can think. You want to immerse your mind into that contemplation, or you want to keep on moving. So quality means quality thinking also is important, quality working is important, quality application is important, quality dealing is also important. You can say quality as applies, I think we may not identify, we may not recognize that, but it applies everywhere, just like designs apply everywhere. Designs means something which is a process before signing, that's called design. The word itself says design means you are going to sign something, and what is below that signature, prior to that signature, that's called design. And in construction also, designs and quality are dominant, and of course design and quality I say are dominant, and also which way we have to achieve that is also dominant, and that we can say a procedure, a charting out of how we have to do that. There can be one method, there can be 10 methods for do same thing, and which they said there were 5 methods out of, there were 5 ways available to do something. Which one is best for you? That either you think on and decide, or you experience every method and decide. It's history, it's time, it's evolution. You do something this way, this method, then use another method, automatically find difference. That's when you are physically working, you are physically. If you work mentally, you can say, oh no, these 5 I can think of, I can do it. Means where you think of, then you'll find, oh, this is problem in this matter, so I try the other one. Oh, this is different problem in this, I try. Like that, out of all those multiple methods, you'll find sometimes you use this one, sometimes use that one. And that's way means method. Every method is right, but best way is which one you are going to do, that must be defined. Method is not wrong. Method is only to be defined, means which way you are going to do, and other party agrees for that way, and if no, it's better way to do that, so you can agree with that way, and that's only purpose of method statements, an expression of what you are going to do, because what's in my mind, otherwise I can't understand, other person, I can't explain everything to everyone, and particularly in construction, hundreds of people work, thousands of people work, hands changes, thinking changes, everything changes. So if you are suppose some people, 50 people work on one activity, and I can't know what every one of them thinking. There may be 2 foremen, one foreman thinks this way, other thinks that way, and they no, I do this way, I do that way, and there is nothing understandable what actually they are going to do. It's complete hodgepodge on side. So just to avoid that, because it spoils materials, it spoils resources, it spoils quality. So only way is you have to predetermine what we are going to do, and that should be well agreed by everybody, and that is called technology. Of method statement, you may say it's not technology alone, it is material also you are going to use. So this is a procedure, you can say, for certain activity, way we are going to do that. Of course, it is written statement. It can be explained in verbatim also. It should be for those people who cannot read. And I think reading is not always possible, but a written statement is possible. And at least those who are in supervision level, they should know what was written, and they should understand what our engineer thinks or desires, and that's also important, what other party, whoever is involved, third party or something, what they expect of us. So you are not free, and also engineer is not free. No one is free on contract, no one is free on project. Everybody has to do under limitations of definitions of drawings, designs, processes, procedures, time, cost, risk, reliability, and analysis, synthesis, and everything. All these people are restricted by this list, and that's where quality is considered very important. And quality has variations. I am not stressing quality is fixed, because it can't be fixed. It can be fixed in under certain constraints, and those constraints can be removed if there is addition, if there is value addition on quality, and you want to deliver better product at same cost, so that customer is more satisfied. As we say, customer satisfaction very important, which is a very fundamental principle in quality world, that your customer should be satisfied. Customer can be satisfied if you deliver expected quality or demanded level of work, or you give him more on that as bonus, which is these days called value addition onto quality and design or whatever you do. That's an important point which we can take care of this. Now let us say, before going to this, I'll just try to talk of my organization, and this is also very important, this document. And in fact, I'll start here. Let's say what actually I'm going to talk. That's point here, very important point. Talk. Can say this paper talks of real project management only, project organization or management for me. I don't want to use word management because I don't, because it gives a sense of man only. And though man, of course, legally it includes woman, but ultimately, who knows legally what it does? So here it's dominant as a man. So either it should be it should be not management. It should be organization, because everybody is organ. It should be organization, or it can be personal agent. That doesn't look nice carrier of this article. So I can say project organization is much better. So it doesn't mean for me anything. You use management word, use it. But my wife say is organization. This paper talks of real project organization only. The contents well known to each of us have been inserted in various parts. Project organization applications are well known to everyone and engineers, but presentation is an attempt to refresh reader by a brief deliberation proposition, and at end of presentation one should feel comfortable about precise refreshing of most aspects of project management or organization. Presentation be revised further. Okay, we'll do that. Brainstorming questions are welcome. Well, this was that time wrote. Now what is requirement? This is in part 1. I'll talk in part 1. That is requirement. Parts are not classified there. I think I did. It's classified. Whatever links are there or not links are there, which PDF links can't work. So we go to project requirements, reasons, and brief talk. What requirement means. Evolution of society and development. Now I'm not going to in-depth study of that, but evolution of society and development says moment of time obviously results in regular development of all economies. Such developments certainly require to fulfill demands of facilities of infrastructure in economies so that new products or processes may be generated. Evolution creates projects from all disciplines and you can say evolution creates projects from all disciplines, and projects would be intradisciplinary allied ones, technological upgradation, and newer technologies generate requirement of projects or services and lead to operations. Marketing demand for all operating unit organizations. Organizations do require maintain their status and promote their commerce. That would certainly impose on organization explore possibilities how to contain their markets by further adding various schemes of new products or supporting products. So these are very common paragraphs. Means evolution never stops, society keeps on moving, development never stops, market is a continuous process which never stops. So this is a very general, just the background and business needs of commercial bosses. Maintaining and promoting existing business requires various types of strategies, and management organization has to bring in certain additional projects to maintain status even at the cost of no additional profit for a considerable length of time. This is continuous process, business development, business promotion. People get bored too soon, so they expect something new if they want to enjoy a product, because smaller product, non-civil engineering products are always changeable. Technology changes. You can see every product comes new within a couple of 2 years, 3 years, and others considered obsolete. But it's only civil engineering that's not considered obsolete anyway. So commercially, you can see those people who are interested only in sales and promotions, they certainly bring all certain designs changes. Even software, you can see update and update and update for just a small change, the update and give a new version. It's nothing but business. It should be like that. For 10 years I'm again this use for 10 years, after 10 will change, but no, it happens every day, and that causes you can sometimes quality less production. Customers request for modifications. This is different. Means when customers require something, customer is ultimate client for whatever organization, Customer satisfaction is an utmost important goal which whatever organization has to achieve. Customer requirements and demands are required to be met given length of time. Customer has to be provided additional value for product or service being provided at same price or in a competitive environment at curtailed price. Such requirement has to force provided for additional standards or schemes that results in delivering incentive products in addition to original product or to provide improved products. New projects are required to be thought of to keep hold on customers. Customer should stay for a manufacturer, for that organization. They don't want to lose customer. They expect new customers. But new customers, old customer, staying of old customers also dependent on coming in of new customers because new thing is available, new products is available, better products available, and that's what everybody is in because they want only promotion of business and people are interested in new and new items. So that's because customer request for modifications. It keeps on going in everywhere, but it also dangerous sometimes because repair issue goes away. You should talk of these days because of pollution, because everything whole world considers. Many countries consider that repair technology should come back. Repair technology should come back, which had gone, which has gone, and because people do not care, oh, just use this product for 2 or 3 years and I'll buy a new one and condemn this and throw this. That should not happen because ultimately we are going to use natural products, natural material resources, even for plastic material. It's a long process, you know. You try to understand what I'm saying. We are using plastics, but we think it's pollutable. Yes, it is pollutable. It has been pollutable from the very beginning itself, but it has come from where do you know? That's the point you have to know, and that is byproducts of these petrochemicals, byproducts. That is one is plastic, or you may say ethylene or ethane, or also you can also say that it's petroleum product, hydrocarbon somewhere, and that's all dangerous. That's why it's dangerous. So we have to find different, or we have to prolong life of such materials built of plastics, and that maybe life can be doubled, on can be doubled. That can be done only when you improve your manufacturing design and manufacturing process, and use such materials which can move more longer than what we now. So all parts in that product must have plastics of higher quality that can go for 10-15 years, of course subject to repair services. That's why I say the technological advances in globe, well known to all, the technology in all disciplines keeps on changing with a fast pace that forces industrial business groups to maintain update on technologies so that existing products are adopted to newer uses that shall definitely result in better quality product with lesser cost. Particularly in electronic world, technologies change very fast. The demands for revision on all products resulting in generation of additional projects, and additional projects are also good if you give better and keep obsolete waste somewhere else if it's not recyclable. We don't want pool of plastics all time. Whole world has been suffering, whole world, due to pollution, due to plastic availability can't be decomposed, and that's the reason Europe and other countries have decided to double life of project. They stress, even particularly European Union stress that make such projects. They have enacted law make such project that life should be at least 10 years, and we have to do repair services because repair services are very expensive. Means such repair services expense could overrule your new product purchase. So people do not have an interest in repairs, but to purchase new and condemn old one. That should not happen. The legal requirement for implementation of laws. So let me see which is also okay. So can the legal requirement of implementation of laws, notification of newer laws, for example, you can say legal requirements for implementation of laws, notification of newer laws, for example, Environment improvement laws, as I said, would require improvement on many products existing in market. International laws would also necessitate similar actions on, on industries. Various local laws shall force areas relevant to bodies of launching newer projects. That's why I said this in 2011 before that. But now, because of this, because of COVID-19 and augmenting quantity of pollutants, you can say destruction of beaches and industries, due to industries also has happened. They have now thought to bring new laws, and not only Europe, but all the world must do that. Repair services, increase life of product from 2-3 years to 5 to 10 years minimum. 10 years is okay, means in 10 years you can say there's a change in half generation. So 10 years is okay, but question is maybe in 10 years you find some method to decompose this plastic. Till now not known, but can be, nobody knows. Or maybe they stop plastic production, bring something else. I can't say today because there is no such technology, but there are some changes. For example, hydrocarbons being devalued, being electrical cars, electrical scooters. There's something being replaced, and the whole automobile world may change. Means about 2 billion vehicles that run every day in our country. I estimate about 35 crores vehicles work every day. If plastic parts within these vehicles are replaced by something else, I think you can find difference. And if all these vehicles are run by electrical power, I think there will be considerable reduction in use of gasoline or diesel or gas. That's why I'm saying newer is already moving, but at very, very small scale. So social needs fulfillment also. Society keeps on changing continuously as defined in social change, but in parallel, society keeps on adopting newer lifestyle that requires newer products that result in newer projects all over. Society shall never be constant in living and adopting standards, while projects shall be kept on requiring all economies. And it's not only my society or your society. When I'm saying social needs, it's for the whole world, because there is no major difference in needs. Everybody has to take food, everybody has to take water, everybody expects fresh air, everybody expects health services, everybody expects all these which are very basic. So in this requirement, of course, there's variation, there's a difference in approach, because there are many parts in the world where services are not provided, like health services are not available everywhere. COVID-19 has proven this, but COVID-19 has also proven that there is one world. We should not forget that. COVID-19 has given a message to everybody. There are no two worlds. There is one world, one earth, one planet. Don't have claims that you are different nations and different country. That's economical way only. That's purpose that you want to, unearth economy of that area, so yours my area. But don't forget whatever materials, whatever resources God has given in terms of material within earth, raw material, that is for everybody. So there's another kind of need in society. You cannot exclusively claim this is my country. Yes, relatively it is your country, because you are born here, you are citizens here, but whole world is a country. That's also true. So it applies to everybody, every nation, and whatever changes gradually come to everyone. Part 2 now, project management, organization concept and its necessity. Sometimes I feel tired. I'll keep fan on for 5 minutes and then put off, because mosquitoes should go away. 5 minutes. Okay, now we continue our discussion on this project management concept and necessity. Just to share about professional experience with engineers, I placed to initiate this series of actual project organizational management requirements that need understanding and attention by general and specialist engineers. This is one of my statement that I have to share whatever I could earn as experience. I'm not saying money, professional experience with those engineers either who have ignored or who are experts, and also to those who are new, budding one, they can get benefit because I could not get this benefit. There was nothing written in those days when I started my young career. In 19, actually I started, you may say, practically. I am not considering that job when I was junior because that was not involved with technologies of that level. But when I left to Gulf countries and to Middle East, starting 1981, and about a couple of years I worked, say 2 decades. I learned a lot in those 2 decades as well because technologies kept on changing from 1981 onwards to 2011, you can say, gap within, of course with many gaps. I experienced technologies that are seen now here in our country. I worked with concrete pumps, mobile as well as stationary in 1981, 82 you can say. Those pumps, mobile pumps and stationary pumps and many other machines related to construction, in those days excavators, backhoes, bulldozers, shovels, and like that, unlimited machines. You could, even if I did not involve myself, I could watch them, I could see them. So in those days, you can say about 40 years back, I used mobile pump, stationary pump, batching plant when it was not even thought of in our country. And I was having, and I when I reached there, I felt pleased, I felt happy that at least I am understanding something, I'm learning something. And many people told me, here you are, now you have opportunity to know all this, which you will never have a chance to know in your country. So I could get benefit of those in those days. When maybe after 25 years later on, in 2000 somewhere, those machines crept up here. So I had opportunity because of those countries to work with that. So it was a learning, you can say. Excavation was done in our country manually long back, using sometimes, it took time, and of course, but it generated employment. That otherwise, if you see economically, it has gone against the people used to excavate, they could use their money, and it was safe also you see. It was safer because there was no immediate or rush excavation. Now we do rush excavation, which can cause accidents or cave-ins sometimes, and that's difficult. I'm just giving an example. It's not excavation only that's related to this one. It's concreting as well. Means concreting is very fast these days. Means you can cast many hundreds cubic meters of concrete within hours. There's a difference of speed, and there's a difference of speed means there's a difference of quality as well. Either you have to maintain quality, you have to run with quality at that speed, or you miss quality. And that's an important point here. And you go, for example, cast concrete very slowly. This is also dangerous. It's not, you can't get quality there too. So that's why quality is an important point here. What should we understand by quality? What should do? So that's one statement saying a project organization subject has been ignored by many budding as well as practicing engineers in light of misconception that's a separate discipline. Where it's no separate discipline, project organization or so-called management can never be isolated. It should not be ignored because it works everywhere. You recognize it or you don't recognize it, it works. Whatever is happening today is nothing new, is nothing different. This used to happen that time also when there was no computer, there was no television, there was no calculator. People used to work that time also. Don't keep it in mind that. So it's just your mindset. You have to understand. Organization and management have always been there. Professional engineering spectrum requires a good understanding about degree of attainability, of engineering management in whatever branch of engineering. Says professional engineering spectrum requires a good understanding, thorough understanding rather, is a good understanding, or it's a total understanding about degree of attainability of engineering work, engineering professional management organization in whatever branch of engineering, not only civil engineering but also in other branches like mechanical engineering, where civil engineering has got relation to, also electrical engineering, civil engineering has got relation to, or you can say landscape engineering or agricultural engineering to some extent, and also to, you can say, electronics or IT. Likewise, many other engineering, of course, vary to some limited extent only, but these are applicable. Subdisciplines of engineering designs, I'm not a fan of. Oh no, please. It's feeling cold now. I just wanted to mosquitoes. Let's go now. Now says that subdisciplines of engineering designs projects are well required to be duly integrated with whole spectrum of project knowledge, decisions and implementation processes, without which role of analysis and design engineering go futile. To a major extent, means we have to understand this point. It says subdisciplines of engineering designs projects. Of course, subdisciplines are well required to be duly integrated with whole spectrum of project world, project management. You can't keep design separately, and decisions making about those world management, organization, implementation processes, which we have to integrate together. We can't separate them. These are all chain, a kind of process. I said process plant, it's also mental plant, design process, project requirement process, what do you want to do with designs, how to implement that. That's also a mental process. Train, Vehicle is a train rather than not to saying that. Say train is means you all design process, integrated construction processes, you can say, or whatever there is, role of analysis and designs engineering go futile if we do not look at what results we obtain, and if results are not to extent that was expected by design team, and work of design team goes futile. That's what I'm saying. Those who do mismanagement or organization principles and their interactions followed by implementations as well as monitoring find it almost difficult to sail smoothly in turbulent waves. You try to understand this. Those who do not mismanagement, who mismanagement, those who miss principles of organizational principles. You can't define these principles in box. Every project different, every person is different, engineering thoughts are different, every engineer has different character, personality, quality. Somebody is very dynamic, somebody is lazy, somebody is very intelligent, somebody is not. It depends on a person who handles in front, to what capacity, what level that person does. So organization principles are affected. They are interaction followed by implementation, and the points that every engineer, particularly in construction field, has variance of workforce, including supervision level, and that impacts on procedure, dynamism, and quality of product. Those who do mismanagement principles, organization principles, and their interactions followed by implementations, as a monitoring find it's almost difficult to sail smoothly in turbulent waves, and that turbulent wave has to be understood. What is turbulent waves? There you may say, okay, it's laminar wave, I don't mind, the Reynolds number is fine, this is very in-depth, it's very slow water flowing or fluid flowing, and I can control it. But when there is a wave, high wave, this Reynolds is too high, and more than 2,500, say, turbulence in sea or turbulence in river, or the hydraulic jump at barrage over here, how to handle, how fishes can be handled with. You have, what I'm giving example is about barrage or weir at some river where canal is being taken out, and there's a difference, and that's called water jump, that. It's hydraulics, or in fluid mechanics we had to learn that. There's a turbulence, complete turbulence you'll find at water jumping from higher level to lower level, and barrage their headworks are there. We find that fishes can die there. So there's a fish trap. Fish route separately we do. So that fish route, which is separately for fishes protection, we have to take our care in quality protection. You can compare with that. The quality can't be distracted by turbulence of this wave. Every engineer has to understand that. On every side there is a turbulence also, there's a panic also. Everybody wants push. Everybody wants to push project to get it done in time or before time, because there's no way, there's no smooth flow. Since beginning of project, we take our sides, we don't care, oh, we have enough time to do it, but what happens? We enter into delayed world, a delayed world of that, and that leads to panic, and that panic, oh, I have to do it tomorrow, you have to lay this slab, you have to burn, all that we do. We have to finish this by that's the red line mark, you have to do shift work or whatever. Means resources are impacted upon, cost is impacted upon, and turbulence comes in, and turbulence means you can't use your mind, or you use it in a different way that you didn't think of. That's where that's concentration is impacted upon, contemplation go futile, and you are advised by someone do like that, and you are forced to accept that. That's called turbulent waves. So you have to avoid turbulent waves, and avoidance of turbulent waves is only that you have to keep yourself moving all times rather than wasting time. Now many publications have been issued by various specialist institutions such as PMT or others based on general understanding about general organization of projects, while these publications are not customized to real civil engineering projects, as evidenced by excessive explanations and formatting designs of processes that makes subject entirely cumbersome in understanding approach. Yes, there are books, I agree with that, management books, and there's a difference of understanding also, there's different contemplation also about those people who explain what this PMT means for, but that is not true. What they say is entirely different. Means claim is that by just learning this you can handle project. I can't accept that. By understanding that organizational processes you can handle project, I can't accept that. Because project is engineering project is concerned with construction, with designs. It's not to sell something in market, it's not to buy something in market. Even to buy you have to see specifications. You have to sell something, you have to sell specifications as well. So you cannot say that it's okay. Therefore, well, I don't say don't learn that. Learning always is there in construction line. In civil engineering there's a lot of learning on site. So I think that same learning goes to books, and they just try to systemize that and nothing else. So that's what I say, that this thinking should change. And because it's also true that engineer can become a good organizer, an engineer could become a good leader on construction and design projects, but a person who is not an engineer, and that person, if that's a management certification, that person can never become an engineer. That's the difference in educational qualification and other one. Engineering is qualification, by after qualifying you practice engineering. So you are a professional engineer, or you are a chartered engineer, or responsible engineer, you can say independent engineer, but it doesn't apply to those who don't have such graphics of education, but they claim that they can handle this. That's not acceptable. It's important to know about all aspects of project. Project, when I say world means it includes management as well as organization and all of this. So it's important to know about all aspects of project world, rather than trying to dip into voluminous books that allow no schedule out of busy schedule of every practicing and professional engineer. It's also true that various sequences about inputs as well as output on various processes and knowledge areas do not comply with real requirement and try to mislead engineers. Well, I'm not giving this a blanket statement. It differs from one person to other person. Some people are interested only in certain titles. They want to write 10 titles with their names, like MB, ME, PhD, PMP, FI, MI, PC, like that. Well, I'm not talking of that. Writing title is one part of life. You can. I saw some person online used to write about 25 titles with that name. Well, I think this is hypocrisy. Title is not that important, just only for reference it's fine. One should know to whom one is talking, that's only. How many titles you have, that is your own word. Means these titles are valuable only when you deliver services. If your services are defective, not quality services, then you cannot say your title is worth. Again I say, engineer is engineer only till that engineer delivers. Otherwise, whatever qualification engineer got in, that's meaningless if it's not done. Therefore, I least bother about many volumes of books if you have to study until you have practical experience. You can write volumes if you have practical experience, and reading books and not applying them got no meaning. You may have studied many years, you have to study many years for that, but if that turns out so, I don't care for very thick books which give me very thin knowledge rather than very thin books with thick knowledge. It's important to know about all aspects of project management rather than trying to dip into voluminous books that say aspects are important, lines are important, process is important, your experience is important, where were you failure, where you were successful, that's are important. And that's education all about. Lessons learned to get there, though it's a part of in PMP, lessons learned, but lessons learned can't be just defined. You have to understand them. Every day is lesson learned, every activity is a lesson learned, every action is a lesson learned. It's also the various sequences about inputs as well as output on various process knowledge areas do not comply with real requirement and try to mislead engineers. And an attempt has been made to bring on few sheets of paper major requirements that would certainly be meant for whatever or all projects during all phases of project life cycle. Practical experience has been put on papers for budding engineers or young engineers to learn about virtual management organization not available in a single chapter elsewhere. It has to be needed. It's noted that value of management or organization of projects depends on an additional individual knowledge, commitment and dedication for projects. A spirit of management, organization or a proficiency of leadership, power, attainment are required to operate all stages of any project from feed to closing out. Again I read this very attempt. It's not wonderful attempt, it's just the ordinary attempt I made just to try to put in papers real stages, real sequences, real terms that used in engineering, construction, engineering designs, engineering supervision, or charter, you can say project charter. All these are for those people who want to move further. Further scrutiny of projects, how we do, including feasibility to feed, to designs and to construction and to end of project. These are very stages, very basic, fundamental stages. We have to understand from experience, because every work forms some basis of experience, some basis of understanding. Today's writing can be tomorrow's references, and of course it should be. And this can be said that that person had written this book, and this book is still, its knowledge contained in this is still, contents are still valid, and this will be valid because it is process. I'm not changing design, I'm not changing something, I'm just trying to share how can we constitute some literature, practicality, some practical experience to little experience. So this is what I say, an attempt has been made to bring in few sheets of paper, major requirement that would certainly be meant for whatever all projects during all phases of project life cycle. Practical experience has been put on papers for all engineers to learn about various management not available in a single chapter elsewhere. Just 30 pages of this file, and there are thousands of pages in the volume. There's a difference. It's precise, it's I can say chained one, Experience doesn't all time you define. If you got an understanding, you can understand very well. If you don't have an understanding, then you can never understand. That's the difference here. So it's your individual knowledge you must have. Value of organization depends on that. Your individual knowledge, most leadership quality, commitment, sincerity, dedication, all are this required. A spirit of organization of proficiency of leadership power attainment are required to operate all stages of whatever project from feed to closing out. Then I go to other parts, and it's also very important one. You have to understand this what's management, organization, objective projects, deliveries, all deliverables. Now question is, what do I understand by profession of project? I always write management, don't consider, you can write management, it doesn't matter, you can write organization, doesn't matter. I am saying what doesn't matter here, article it's only, if you manage, and that's discipline, management, discipline. Understanding of profession by project, discipline. Applications of our knowledge, I say our knowledge, whatever knowledge we have based on experience, not only based on your text of education, that is knowledge that can change, that's not verified knowledge, that is not corroborated knowledge. Your knowledge is corroborated only, is given. When you get it from experience, from involvement on activities, involvement of different activities, application of earned knowledge, that's called. You earn money, that's one part, but knowledge is also earned. Maybe you don't realize that time of working, and that's enriched, with advanced skills, because you see work by others. That's the difference. You're not seeing only theory or only text. You see people working on site, all classes of people or categories of people, from lowest class of helper to or top class of chief engineer or chief commercial manager or whatever the head of your projects, and even head of consultants and others. So that earned knowledge, which comes by virtue of all these, is very important. You can't compare the cost of a book. There can be no book that gives you that facility, that privilege to be in a brief section with all those projects. So this is skills which you learn, organizational environment factors and processes, tools and techniques. You can call whatever these are factors, these are processes, these are tools and techniques to deliver specific results or services to client or owner or customer in line with project deliveries. All deliverables, I say, not only one delivery, all deliverables according to contract requirements through route of project management plan. Execution and change controls, you can say execution and change controls. So project management plan, project organization plan, execution and change controls, using leading and organizing potentials, all integrated with scope. The important part is scope, quality, time, cost, risks, human resources, procurement, communication plans. These are only few. Scope is number one, as we say in method statements, because you have to write for what's purpose of this, what do you want to achieve that. That's scope. Scope of contract, scope of design, scope of work, scope of consideration. That you can say scope means whatever is there in that contract. And what quality requirement is, what level of quality, what's the scope of quality, you can say. What's the level of quality, and definition of time, which is generally defined in contracts, that is in contract data. Time, how long this project can run, you have to deliver that. And then cost is also defined, that's consideration on that project, you can say contract. Cost, I'm not talking of contract only, I'm talking of fundamentals. So scope is always there with every issue. You may purchase material, you may purchase technology, you may buy some material, you may manufacture material, you may produce something, you may construct something. So these are all related to quality, time, cost, and of course risks on top of that, which you must pre-understand. You have a pre-knowledge You must have, a thinking power that you can, from these available factors, you can understand what risk factors would come in, or what solutions, how are we shall be able to find solutions of how to solve those risks. Means this should then become opportunity or safety factors. And then we consider human resources, means all personnel, without which nothing is possible. And procurement of materials, procurement of services, and procurement of whatever, technology, and communication plans, etc. Communication means coordination, this means deliberation, this means seminars, all communication plans. So scope number 1, quality number 2, time number 3, cost number 4, risk number 5, human risk number 6, procurement number 7, communication number 8, and many more. Coordination, communication, or you can say writing skill is communication. So is method statement right or something else right? We got all contact documents with us, everything with us. That's also a part of communication. And those documents are quality documents or baseless documents. There's no sequence of them, or there's no chain of them. It takes a lot of time to understand them. That doesn't mean those documents are not quality based. Those documents are difficult one, just copy paste. And of course, time, cost, risk, human resources, procurement. And these are all areas that must be considered in organization. And a brief analysis understand to integrate project plan with required knowledge areas. That's also very important point that can say analysis to understand how to integrate project plans with required knowledge areas. That point's also very important. I think construction projects spectrum relevant to civil engineering, specialty disciplines required in field. So analysis to understand how to integrate plans with required knowledge areas. These knowledge areas we just discussed. Scope, quality, time, cost. Quality, time, cost makes a triangle. Quality, time, cost make triangle. It's a very, must. Scope can change, but these still remain there. And risks, which another triangle you can say. Or fourth point of this triangle extended to 4 figures are risk and human resources and procurement. And this can be another triangle. Risk, you have to human resources risk, you have to procurement risk, and communication plans. Then you can form many other points here too. Just from understanding point of view, you can see these points, knowledge areas, how to understand. How we have to understand construction project spectrum relevant to civil engineering, specialty disciplines required in the field. Project management organization is defined briefly as an exercise of doing total prospective processes. Project organization is defined briefly as an exercise of doing total prospective processes, applicable for years to deliver agreed objectives to end user, consumer or client or owner of project. So that was is something, some organization we have to define for what purpose, for total prospective process, which is applicable for years to deliver. It's not one day, years to deliver agreed objectives to end user, consumer or client or owner of project. Project is defined as a temporary plan. Of course it's temporary, it's not permanent. Project is defined as a temporary plan or scheme for a generally permanent existence of some or whatever specific objective for a certain or specific purpose or service. This is project defined. Purpose to define is very important because project is never permanent. Those who think permanent, they don't understand the meaning of project. Project has to end one day. Project, because we are projecting something and you cannot project that forever. A projection means you are telling people what we are going to do, and that has to end one day. That has to finish one day. So there is a date of start and date of end, date of completion you can say, or date when you have to use that. This gap, this duration is project duration. We started this project this day and we completed this project this way. And once it is completed, it doesn't enjoy status of project, but it becomes objective. It becomes permanent objective, and means you say you can relax when it's done, project is over. Operation has to come to play in this only difference only project as well as continuation of that work which was done under project scheme. Because that project has gone to operational unit, operational unit sense maybe it's a factory project or it's solar project, when people come back from there, they know what they got in. Then its definition of project is a temporary, you can say completely temporary. There's no permanence here, but operation is permanent. You construct a plant, you construct a thermal power station, you construct whatever else. Your construction shall complete in a couple of years maximum, but its use shall continue for decades. And that's the difference in project and operational unit. That unit is a project for you, is now no project for anybody. This is operational scheme, operational plan, or whatever it is, usable residential area. It goes to work for years and years. So duration of project could vary between months to years and also to decades as well, depending on magnitude of project. So that we have to understand duration, as I explained to you, date of start, date of completion or handover. That's called duration. So duration of project could vary between months and years, months to years, and also to decades as well, depending on magnitude of project, potential of project. And I think, and projects can belong to all classes of engineering specialties that may affect nation building as well as to meet international requirement. All classes of disciplines or specialists can come under project. Every discipline got project. It may be mechanical production unit, it may be electrical unit, or it may be thermal power plant, it can be power station, it can be airport construction, it can be railway construction, it can be infrastructures, it can be flyover roads, it can be environment, it can be whatever. When that scope is decided, time is decided, cost is decided, that we can say is kind of a specialized project for engineering, but everything is under engineering. Project organization is broad term, it's not specific terms, broad term used to define projects from its inception to deliveries, stays and maintenance thereafter. After project is delivered, term changes to operation that could be a part of maintenance or consumer deliveries or to render regular public service. That's was discussed already. Then project and products are different terms. Project and products are different terms applied to different status. Projects defined is temporary execution, while product is regular manufacturing process requiring operational arrangement. There's a difference. Continuing, you can say continuation of or feature of products depends on continuation of feature of products depend on competitive environment, competitive market, economy, and products sustainability by adopting further developments. But project is entirely independent of such factor, but sought to evolve fully supporting system for delivery of requirement so that it can be used as a permanent objective, successfully to be used as production infrastructure mechanism. So I repeat, continuation of feature of product. Products depend upon competitive market, economy and product sustainability by adopting further developments, but projects entirely independent of such factors. But to evolve fully supporting system for delivery of requirements so that it can be used as permanent objective, successfully used as production infrastructure mechanism. Your product is valuable only if there is modernity in this, update in this. It moves with world, moves with technology, changes, everything is there. As I said, knowledge areas are work on that. You cannot degrade knowledge areas if your product is within that knowledge area, within that temperature area, or in that which say that it has to continue and has to continue with of course amendments, modifications, everything. But you can say sustainability of adopting must be there. Development goes on, adopting goes on, but it should be sustainable, it will be affordable, and it should be based on perfect standards. So continuation of continuation of future products depends on competitive market economy and products sustainability by adopting further developments, but project is entirely dependent of such factor to all fully supporting system for delivery of requirements so that it can be used as a permanent objective successfully to be used as production and infrastructure mechanism. There are certainly projects of all types in market or industries or organizations. In this discussion, intention is to talk about projects dealt with civil engineering industries only, not all others. And now I'll give you this file. I'll give this file here, other one. You see this file? Not this one. Risk management. No, this one is this one. A building plant. Okay. When I'll give this file, you can just read something here. I'm giving responsibilities anyway, because I'll be back here after 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I like to be more safety than something else. Just for your reference, I am giving it. Otherwise, method, let us say, to this. Okay, no problem. Just read something, and I will come back. Hold on, please. Okay, just give me some time. I'll be back within minutes. 10 minutes maybe. I'm going upstairs and come back. It's already how much time? It's already more than 1.5 hours. Continuous talk. So just a minute. I'll be back. Okay. That's the problem with me. Sorry, everyone. Sorry. Sorry, little delay. It's no reason. I'm back again. To you people, sorry for delay. It was a little delayed because of some problem. I'm back here. Thank you very much for waiting. So, what I said, let us go to this file of building plans, and it is, there is safety journal which we have already studied, and I'll take it later on, safety journal, but brief it is that general provisions on safety discipline, in addition to those included with various method statements on this chapter, which are relevant points, should be extracted from descriptions in line to requirements on relevant activities. Relevant points should be extracted from description in line to requirements on relevant activities. It is to be noted that safety standards vary from organization to organization, company to company, and client to client. Just consideration of economy and project cannot exclusively be criteria to avoid or reduce safety measures. This very important point. A minimum level of safety measures installation should be made a must for a site supervision. For a site supervised to ensure that workforce must work safely, it's preferable to work with acceptable level of safety rather than losing lives of workers. This very important point. We have to take into our consideration this point very well. This is very, very important because of safety, because of issues, and we should not take it for granted, whatever it is. We have to understand this point of safety curiously, anxiously, importantly, significantly, because safety is very sometimes difficult in case it is beyond control. Until it remains in control of site controllers, it works well, it yields well. But safety, you can say is very important model. Very important requirement, actually, not model, as such say. It's very important requirement, safety, without which none of us can move. Safety is such requirement. It doesn't cost excessively on every project. Of course, one should be aware of safety. One should know about safety, but everybody must do with safety. That's the important point. We generally use slogan, which is I've seen somewhere on boards and on many projects, and particularly Gulf, and it said, "No safety, no pain." Here spelling says KNOW, no safety, and NO, no pain, right? It says if you comply with safety provisions, you will not feel any pain. Otherwise it is NO, no safety, KNOW, no pain. If you don't abide by safety provisions, you shall have to face pain. That means this. So spelling is different, but meaning is same. No safety, no pain, and no safety, no pain. Same thing. Everybody is talking of, yes, there's a difference of spelling. When you say KNOW means you have to abide by safety. There you will not feel any pain, and if you don't abide by safety, you shall feel pain. It's very simple. And it just people who ignore this because this is no product, there is no measurement in safety. That's another point of view. This is just the provision. Because there is no separate payment made for safety provision in our price. Price is included in lump sum. So engineers understand, or those who are responsible, they understand. But a general worker or a specialist worker that doesn't understand about value of that. It's not simply value that you have to claim. That's one part of project, maybe hardly 1-2% maximum, not more than that. I don't think even more than that. Keeping everything in provision, but failure is another point. When safety is not complied with, it's not conducted properly, it's not abided, no. What can happen? That is very considerable point. You can face fatal accidents. You can face, you can say, disability level accidents, and you can face other accidents which obstructs works of others. If there cause some accident, instantly people get nervous and they stop working, thinking about that. It happens. And indirectly, where hundreds of workers work, thousands of workers, what happens? The standstill job moment, even you instruct them to continue, it doesn't look nice. It doesn't pay because emotional stage doesn't permit that. So you have to tolerate that as well, because indirect loss, yes, it is indirect loss, work hours loss, production loss, but because of very minute issue, and that was non-abidance of safety provisions. Safety, health and hazard, because safety means good health and non-safety means bad health. Safety, health and environment, and not only pollutable environment, also emotional environment. Impact of safety can attack site working environment. Forget pollution. When people get emotional, they lose efficiency immediately and they start talking of something. They shift from concentration from work and it moves on and on. They keep on talking for days. This happened. If the person did not care, sometimes they will blame worker who was impacted. Sometimes they blame engineer is wrong, safety officer is wrong, he did not take care of requirements, or whatever else you can say. Ultimately, if there is a loss of life, if there is loss of time, there is loss of something, or loss of generation of discussions, it doesn't work in project interest. Whatever state in this, it doesn't work for project interest. You thought of economy, but economy is lost. What's purpose? So only best way is that you have to abide by safety provisions, and you can abide by only when you teach everyone from time to time, even if they have been taught previously, because habit of human resource is that forgetting is very easy, refreshing is must. That's why we say toolbox talks can be conducted, or if there is possibility also start cards can be conducted. But most important is toolbox talks for those people who are interested in understanding by demonstration, by explanations, not by writing or reading. Those people can be given in their own language explanation about use of tools, everything. And that's very important point. Toolbox talk we call it. How best you can use this without having any problem, and how best you can use these tools without causing any major injury or results of fatalities. These points must be understood everywhere in safety, because if you are safe, project is safe, your family is safe, everybody is safe. And if you are not safe, this project doesn't mean kill you. You are not employed here on this project so that you can be killed. No, it's not purpose of project. This project expects you to serve it healthily. You serve it smoothly. you service sincerely and go back home safe. That's the sole purpose of safety. So these points must be kept in view, but unfortunately, except PPEs, I think other safety issues are ignored, and that should not be. And I will ask everyone, work safely, because it's in your own interest. It's very important point. You have to work safely. You have to work sincerely. If you are safe, organization is safe, project is safe, life is safe, your family is safe, and there's no liability, economic liability on anybody. So we go on buildings, means what sort of building? For example, saying concrete and RCC walls of central control building. I explained lastly also. No problem, we can refresh. That's concreting RC walls of central control building, laboratory, superstructure activities it is. Activities, and you have to understand that, to do that. Says that purpose of this, well, as the index is same as we used to list it. First is the scope, then reference documents, then definition, formwork, design method, etc. And also there is, you can say, we can add whatever is required as far as it is concerned. There's no harm, nothing wrong in that. You can add whatever is required there, and that's point we should give value to. So it's that the concreting to RC walls of central control building, let us say, says purpose of this statement is to define procedure that shall be adopted for erection of formwork and placement of structural concrete to walls, sections of a building. Here it is CCB. Let us consider a building, because this is a blast documents and everything. Construction site manager, construction superintendent, project supervising engineers, infrastructure superintendent, site engineer, geotechnical engineer, safety officer, general foreman, quality control, survey personnel, all that we have now. See, have to provide everything, all materials, all resources, and site manager have to take care of all these. So you can site manager to provide this resource and spend money through company, and we arrange everything through that. The construction manager have to take care of everything on site, and superintendent have to supervise all works, and geotechnical engineer is responsible for soil engineering, whereas site engineer like general foreman responsible for all workers. And responsibility of quality, whereas surveyor is responsible for survey. EPC contractor shall conduct surveillance over all ongoing sites. EPC contractor is head of this project, means owner of this project. As far as contracting is concerned, taken work from owner. EPC is a working owner, or you can say a contractor. General here, prior to commencement of whatever activity, whole workforce shall receive a start card or toolbox stock, you can say, which I just discussed with you. Toolbox is very important in civil engineering, that's an important one. Process involving a particular safety risk shall be calculated by conducting job hazard assessment and necessary protective measures adopted at this risk. So if something is not clear or much clear, so we can conduct some mock-up or some job hazard analysis or assessment just to know what level of safety can be endangered or can be jeopardized, and we can take corrective measures if we know how job shall be done. So we either anticipate or we can just think of particular measures, means how to do that once we understand how this job is going to be done. And included measures should be comply with real requirement standards accepted by OSHA, recognized institutes, occupation safety health assessment is called. All personnel shall be imparted at regular job basis. job basic safety lessons or training from time to time and record maintain, and this will be refreshed from time to time. Is very important because habit of forgetting always exists. In this case, activity has to be carried out on operating authority area, that is, blast area. Also, in this case, activity has to be carried out in operating authority area, means there is not free area, there is not residential area, this is not commercial area, this is not institutional area. This area has some plant access, and within this plant jurisdiction, this building lies. So, in this case, activity has to be carried out on operating authority area. Operating authority area. Therefore, all regulated precautions shall be strictly adhered to, affect full safety standard. Only specifically approved mechanical equipment, third party certified, whilst locating these services shall be used. Safety officer shall ensure that persons being inducted on site are well aware of adopting right suitable safety procedures to be implemented on site for activity concerned. I'll take some water, please. Okay. I'll take some water and be back. What's this matter? It's okay. So, you can say safety officer shall ensure persons being inducted on site are well aware of adopting right suitable safety procedure to be implemented on site for activity concerned. All persons available upon site shall wear job required PPE, this personal protective equipment issued to them. Wherever activities pertinent or pertaining to farm work are involved, farm work shutters, sustainable or supporting system shall be ensured sufficient adequately to transfer safely all imposed loads during preparatory working, pouring concrete, etc. This is regarding very important sentence. Wherever activities pertaining to farm work are involved, sustainable supporting system shall be ensured, or adequate supporting system, you can say, shall be ensured sufficient adequately, you can say, to transfer safely all imposed loads during preparatory work, pouring concrete, etc. It's very important. Means it says your farm work should be supported exactly in a way required by conducting analysis and transfer of loads from one point to other point, which you generally do not. But this is complete temporary work design. It's an important one because this can result in accidents. There is less chance of accidents from permanent works, but this is temporary works supporting system, which I can say wherever activities pertinent to farm work are involved, sustainable supporting system must be ensured that it is adequate to transfer safety of all imposed loads, actions during preparatory working, forming, pouring concrete, etc. Like that's an important one. Where activities pertaining to farm work to support suspended slabs, suspended slabs, other where activities pertaining to farm work to support suspended slabs or other critical structures that may give rise to safety risk situation shall be required to be certified by a third party, which may be either system vendors, engineer, or other person stably qualified so to do. Generally what happens, middle class companies, medium standard companies procures supporting system from various proprietary vendors. They design their system according to customized requirement. They just work on that complicated proposal with their own layout. They produce that system to support that work with complete designs. We can say vertical forces, bending moments, all those which are expected to come during that pouring concrete stage. I'm not saying they conduct, you can say, stat pro. No, it's not required. Just common sense analysis can be done, because the system grid generally has a dimension of 2.4 meter into 1.2 safely meters, you can say grade 1, which is called cup lock system. Now, I'm not talking of props here, I'm not talking of bullies here, I'm not talking of something else here. I'm talking of a structural piping system that's 2.4 into 1.2 approximately grade, and its pipes are so strong that this area of this grade, which is total 2.4 into size of ply, which is 2.88 square meters, around 3 square meter, whatever direct load and impact load, or you can say some instant accidental load expected to come on the 3 tons, that should go to one pipe, and 3 tons means that one pipe will take, because if you take 4 bays together, central pipe will take from catchment of around 4. So 3 square meter 3 ton load is expected to come. Let us say 3 tons, because concrete is on safer side, so 3 ton load is expected to come on that. I'm not talking bending moment here because it's all tied up. So that load the action has to come to this pipe, one pipe, and it makes sure that the higher is the more pressing is there, so this pipe may safely carry that load or that impact one. So 3 tons, if you take 15 per 25%, so it's in range of 3 to 4 tons if your that vertical pipe does work and horizontal pipe work accordingly. Your system may be considered safe provided joints continue and there's no sway, there's no indents. That can be considered safe provided upper part of slab, you can say, where your system is bathed in with the scantlings or some steel members to support that, all beam bottoms and beam sides, and also slab bottom, slab sides. So you can say in that case all significant formwork design supported with required stress calculations shall be proposed to engineer for approval prior to installation. Third party has to give that design. If you can't design yourself, you buy, but depending on vendor supplied temporary work materials of supporting, and that drawing should go to engineer for approval, and certainly engineer shall approve if calculations are provided, means direct loads are provided, bending moments are provided, deflection, of course everything is provided which are required within that temporary work scope. And once it is done, we have to follow that. And third party, though it's responsibility of course contractor, but at least this item the third party certifies creates a confidence to both parties that yes, we have paid something, and that's professional worker has done, professional engineer of scaffolding has done this. This is a kind of calculation has been done. A trust lies to calculation, goes to calculations, a professional calculation, because side guys generally don't do it. These people, they know their matter very well. Only point when they come to see implementation of that's very important. Recall them for implementation, and they see, okay, I've done all this, suggest something, you do this and that, and then they certify, okay, fine, this work has been done according to this time. That's satisfactory for both, for engineer as well as for contractor. On a safety factor, you can say, of course, prior to installation shall be inspected. All significant form of design supported with required stress calculations shall be proposed to engineer for approval prior to installation. And after that, hoisting of prefabricated formwork site shall be raised using either tower crane or mobile crane involving manual shifting. That's how to shift that prefabricated material, that you can see from carpenter yard. You can see how long panels of beams and beam sides, and beam, of course, long panels of ply, and whatever you do fabrication for columns of something else. Hoisting of fabricated formwork site shall be raised using either tower crane you have to use for that, or mobile crane you have to do that, whatever is available on site. I think tower crane is better if this location is within reach of tower crane, or you can use mobile crane as well. It's difficult to take manually all this heavy metal, people can fall and this can fall, so it's better to use machine of tower cranes for purpose of vertical mobility And horizontal mobility can be done by something else, by trailer or by trolley or by something else. Then scaffolding system shall be required to install at all locations wherever works start. In addition to step ladders, working platforms and access ladders. So this is about scaffolding. It's very important concern. Scaffolding system is always considered temporary but very important system. Because scaffolding is not available, you can't do anything except foundations. So scaffolding system is very dynamic for work. It's temporary, of course, but it goes to create preparatory works. Scaffolding supports preparatory works. So scaffolding system is required to install at all locations where works start. In addition to step ladders, step ladders we have to provide. That too requires some scaffolding. There is working platform we require some scaffolding. Access ladder, of course, that doesn't require that scaffolding, but whatever access ladder are placed on such temporary works, we put on this temporary work some plywood, some panels on that we can stand for work. Reinforcing bars shall also be fabricated in the yard. So the formwork, now I'm talking of steel reinforcement, which we call general reinforcing bars, shall also be fabricated in the yard to an extent possible. It should be raised or shifted to higher locations using cranes, avoiding manual shifting. Reinforcing bars shall also be fabricated in the yard to an extent possible, which should be raised or shifted to higher location using cranes, avoiding manual shifting. General principle is to shift as much material as possible using mechanical means should be adopted rather than manual shifting to avoid accidents, and that's good if you use mechanical. These days mechanical means are used for, except if small work is there. In small work we can't bring crane or tower crane. So in that very small work you can say it doesn't look nice, but you have to be careful there also, because many people should be involved. Otherwise this either fabricate on site or don't fabricate in yard, or if you fabricate in yard you have to use something so that safely this can lead to its own location. During long moving activities, workers shall be allowed rest pauses to take cold liquids or tear sector for refreshing. These things are important point. People take it otherwise, but you see, they are strong people. They work in sun, in heat, in cold, in rain, in dust storm, and for long hours they work. It's not half an hour, 1 hour. Sometimes in the concrete they work whole day. Then shift change the whole night. It's very difficult to work in countries for 1 hour with concrete pulling or vibers. So when they work for long hours, they need some rest also. We have to consider human factor. It's required with the health. We cannot impact on their health. They should not get fatigue after every day. See, they must be allowed some rest pauses to drink at least some water, some cold liquid, or maybe some tea or refreshing or some whatever you think about weather requirement according to the habits of people. They should get some input, so to take some liquids for avoiding dehydration, and also it's hard for having sunstroke. Another theme for that means when they take rest, we take overhaul, parallel shift for that. There should be rest of 10 to 15 minutes for every crew, and they must be given support by another one. So during long moving activities, you can say workers shall be allowed rest pauses to drink cold liquids or water shall be available, drinking water. Drinking water shall be available on site for consumption by all personnel. Must be, it's mandatory. You can't say go and buy your water. You have to give them water through machine or whatever means. Drinking water shall be available on site for consumption by all personnel, because your body should be filled with water, not or dehydrated. And you will now see care. While in fact in dust time, people should not go outside. It can impact on your eyes, it can impact your nose. Even if you wear masks will fly away in dust storm. Your hair will full, so we have to avoid if it's dense dust storm. Maybe for half an hour, 1 hour maximum it will be there, then it will settle down. So dust storm shall not be allowed, shall not allow external works of whatever nature. Even internal works are sometimes disturbed because openings are there. Openings allow this dust to come in. And also high temperature conditions shall not allow work to go on in open to sky areas. High temperature conditions more than 40 degrees, 45 degrees, sometimes 30, 50 degrees. This is not good for any activity, particularly speaking if it's more of 35 degrees. So we have to think of how to work. It's different, you see, as much as possible. If you can work inside, in low temperature areas is fine. In high temperature areas, you have to think of lunchtime, long lunchtime. Let's say start early morning 6 to 11 or 7 to 11, and then maybe 2 or 3 or 4 to later on. That may be localized change depending on temperature. And also no workers shall be allowed to play with equipment, because equipment are mechanical based, electrical based, and a person who doesn't know about the equipment, how to operate, a licensed person who knows everything about that equipment, how to handle it, how to operate it safely, only that person is allowed to sit on mounting. No other worker is allowed to play with equipment. You cannot play with this equipment, costs millions, and if you play with that, you break something, you break some parts. For example, nothing else, break hydraulic oil pipe, it stops everything. So no work shall be allowed to play with equipment. Quarreling on site area shall not be permitted at any cost. Site is not meant for purpose of fighting or disputes, or fighting or finding each other. It's not quarreling site, it's project site. So there should be some discipline. People should be disciplined. They should stay in discipline, otherwise they are not required on site. Use of mobile phones by workers below foreman or supervisor title during working hours shall not be permitted. Use of mobile phones by workers below foreman or supervisor title during working hours shall not be permitted. Site shall not be kept in untidy conditions. Now the question of mobile arises is, it's very important question, because you are a construction worker and you have to concentrate on activity, because it's not question of mobile, it's question of safety. Maybe you are working on a scaffolding outside, higher scaffolding, and also you might have forgotten to use waist belt harness, safety harness, or even if you are wearing that, and there is a possibility that during talk you forget everything you are working, and by chance you fall. What shall happen to you? So you have to keep knowledge about what's happening, and yet you cannot get the knowledge if you say, I'll think later on, I'll do later on. That later on point doesn't arise. So use of mobile should therefore be avoided and forced to be avoided. That is, okay, lunchtime you can use it, even if there's emergency. Every time there is no emergency of what? You can talk in lunch or before coming to job, you can talk your people. But mobile on site, use of mobile phones by workers below not be permitted, or it should be permitted under supervision only. Garbage and unrequired materials. Rendered job hazard, which can jeopardize site stability. So site shall not be kept in untidy conditions by regularly removing all debris, garbage and unrequired or redundant material. No concrete transit mixture delivering RMC on site shall be allowed to wash out transit mixer at site locations, but to designated areas only. It's a very important point that you can't you can't wash your mixer wherever you want. There should be some fixed location that is used for this purpose only. Otherwise, you spoil environment, you spoil road, you spoil thing. So no concrete transfer mixer delivering ready mixed concrete on site shall be allowed to wash out, wash transit mixer at site locations, but to designated areas only. Material shall be stocked on site areas if so required. Material shall be stocked on site areas if required in such a way that circulation areas are not adversely impacted. Free flow must be available, but whatever you have done for little storage should be cared for. That's an important point. Then you can say material shall be stocked on site areas if required in such a way that circulation areas are not adversely impacted. People should be free to move here and there without anything coming in their legs, for example cable or something else. And no electrical cable shall be laid exposed and no domestic fittings be used. You cannot use industrial fittings on that portion. There is safety. People can stumble there, and if it's live means there can be explosion, there can be sparking. A qualified electrician must be on job all time for looking over after maintenance. There should be some electrician all time. That's important. Well, you can say qualified electrician must be available on site all hours for look after and maintenance. In case of mishap or accident, it happens, it's significant to ensure that victim is immediately imparted with first aid and then transported to nearest hospital or medical center as convenient. No untagged scaffolding. No untagged scaffolding. Yarding off. Then you can say, what else I should say, very interesting, isn't it? Let me have time, so let me see before I feel tired. There's limitation to everything, let's see. No concrete transfer mixture delivering arms on site shall be allowed to wash out transfer mixture at site location, but designated areas. We have taken this already. Materials will be stocked okay, no electrical cable shall be laid exposed, and no domestic fittings be used. This also we have taken into consideration. Only industrial fittings and no cable should be open or something by soil. It should be even if it's a walking area, means you have to be careful. No electrical cables is exposed. A qualified electrician must be on job all hours for looking after maintenance. Qualified electrician must be available on job. In case of mishap or accident occurs, it's significant to ensure that victim is immediately imparted with first aid and then transported to nearest hospital or medical center for further treatment. In case of mishap, it is significant to ensure that victim is immediately transferred after first aid is given to nearest hospital, medical center as convenient. No untagged scaffolding, ladder or other access drive device shall be used. Untagged not be used. Don't tag untagged because it's not declared safe until tagged. All vehicles shall be parked only within designated locations. Now, hard hat, hard hat, safety zone, hard hat or safety zone area. Where is the safety zone? It must be hard hat area, be demarcated, or smoking zone designated, toilets provided. This must be mandatory. You have to use hard hat, safety shoes, or goggles if required, safety glasses. These areas must be marked on site which area is that or which area is free of that. Generally areas when we enter some site for some distance and where we see some watchman or some other person is staying, we can say that. Cylinder also, oxygen cylinder is required in some operational in-depth area. Therefore, on facilities, construction projects, emergencies, procedures shall be explained to all concerned personnel to resort to action as and when it is necessary. Certain site evacuation requirement arises. All personnel shall be transported by suitable